Hello children, let us read a lesson from Social Studies, lesson number 1, Introduction to History. What is history? The systematic presentation of past events is called history. It introduces the journey of human beings. It tells the failures and success of humans in that journey while explaining the historical incidents. The accuracy of time, place and person is maintained. This means when the incident took place, where and by whom, these would be clear. Without these clarities, history becomes a story. Why we want history? Students, what happens if you touch the flame of fire? It burns, doesn't it? This is experience. Will you again touch the fire? No, because you have already experienced the burning sensation, haven't you? We call this as memory, recollection and retention. What would have happened if humans did not have memory at all? He would have committed the same mistake again and again. In this case, the progress of human beings is not possible, as human beings needs memory to progress. So, a society or a nation needs memory to progress. It is inevitable. Then, what can be assumed as memory for society or a nation? That is history. Yes, like memory serves human to survive, history serves as a memory for a society, state, and nation, and the whole world. History is a record of good and wrong decisions, joyful and sorrowful experiences, and the difficulties faced by our ancestors. Besides, it warns the future decision making process. The principles, values, and ideologies of our ancestors in the history will be a model and a guiding force for their descendants. This valor, adventurous patriotism, and sacrifices will inspire the next generation. Moreover, by introducing our culture and heritage, history arouses the feeling of pride and honor for our nation and the world at large. Herodotus of Greece was the first to show the world how to construct this immensely valuable history. Hence, he is considered as the father of history. Sources. The one who constructs history is an historian. They use historical evidences to be particular and authentic about history. So it is believed that there cannot be history without sources. Then, which are the sources of history? The source of history can be classified into two groups. 1. Literary sources. 2. Archaeological sources. Literary sources. Historically speaking, literature means the written or orally conveyed information. There are two kinds in this. One is written literature and another is oral literature. Written literature can be further classified into native and foreign literature. Oral literature comprises of folk songs, stories, ballads, myths, and legends. Written literature is constructed by literates, but oral literature is created by illiterates. Archaeological sources. The physical remains or ruins of the things used or the constructed structures in the past are archaeological sources. The remains that have been buried in the earth are removed through excavation. The historical evidences include coins, inscriptions, monuments, pieces of pots, and other artifacts. India as introduced by Europeans. Indians had the knowledge of history in the form of Puranas and myths from the ancient times, but this was different from the European model of constructing history. Among the Europeans who arrived in India in 16th century were Jewish priests. They undertook a systematic study to understand the lifestyle of Indians. Henrik Roth, who was settled in Agra, translated Sanskrit grammar into Latin language about 350 years ago. A century later, Father Codex introduced that there are many similarities between Sanskrit and European languages. Meanwhile, the British got the revenue rights in the Bengal. The British officers tried to understand the history, traditions, customs, values, beliefs, and laws of Indians to strengthen their trade relationship. Some administrators were attracted towards Indian literature and culture. As a result, Manusmriti, Bhagavad Gita, and other great literary works were translated into English. Sir William Jones contributed immensely to the study of ideology, the study of India. He came to India as a judge of the Supreme Court in Bengal and established the Asiatic Society in 1784 CE at Calcutta. Sir William Jones, who was a multilingual expert, translated the great works like Gita, Gita Govinda, Manava Dharmashastra, and Kalidasa's Shakuntala from Sanskrit to English. Another prominent Orientalist and Indologist was Max Mueller. He was a German scholar who wrote an English work, Sacred Book of East, in 50 volumes. James Mill, a historian from Scotland, wrote History of India in 6 volumes, but these scholars never visited India. Abbe Dubois, a French missionary, arrived and settled at Ganjam near Srirangapatna. He lived as a sage, adopting the local culture and customs. He was called Doda Swami by the local people. He wrote Hindu manners, customs, and ceremonies. He has presented Indian customs, values, thoughts, festivals, and Varnashrama system in his work. Abbe Dubois lived here for 24 years and returned to France. Apart from these, Elphinstone, Close, Brooke Cunningham, Eliot, and Davison has introduced the different stages of Indian history. Francis Buchanan, Colonel Wilkes Mackenzie, Bear Rice, Fleet, and other European scholars have successfully recorded and preserved inscriptions, manuscripts, chronicles, testimonies, and contemporary events for the reconstruction of Karnataka history. Thus, Europeans have been successful in introducing a novel way of understanding and constructing history to the Indians. In this way, they have provided Indians a new process of thinking and a new perspective to construct history.